Toronto Raptors rookie Markquis Nowell has made one of the boldest statements I have not just seen from an undrafted player, from a two-way guy, but really any Toronto Raptors player I've seen in Raptors history. So we'll break down what he had to say, his massive promise to Toronto Raptors fans, and if he can really live up to the expectations he's setting for himself. Additionally, Scottie Barnes put up some big numbers in a Pro-Am game, so we'll discuss that and his development and a whole bunch more in this video. So without further ado, let's jump to the first topic of this vid, and it's Markquis Nowell, who is a guy that has won over a lot of Toronto Raptors fans' hearts with his major performance in Summer League, with his great story coming into the NBA, being a guy that's only 5'7", has worked through every single bit of adversity to, not making teams, to building up his stats, building up his reputation to a point where he was a dominant force, in college basketball. And even though he didn't get drafted, he was picked up by the Toronto Raptors, signed to a two-way deal, showed out in Summer League, and is ready to go, ready to come into the season and have an impact on this Raptors team. But that's not his only expectations, to come out and deliver for the Toronto Raptors. As on his Instagram post recently, he came out with one of the boldest statements I've ever heard from any real Toronto Raptors. I said in the intros, basically, he came out and said that I will make history as the best Raptor to ever put on a uniform. So that's basically his goal. That's his determination. He wants to come out and be the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time. And while I've seen some Toronto Raptors fans say, hey, that's too bold, we don't want him to come in with these lucrative expectations and then try to do too much out there on the court, all that type of stuff. But looks like most Raptors fans, and myself included, I'm loving this. I am absolutely loving this from Markquis Nowell, because if you're not familiar with this game, he has overcome every single bit of adversity you can deal with as a basketball player. I mean, he's a guy that's 5'7", only 155 pounds, and, last season in college, basically 18 points per game, 8 assists, a dominant force, knocking down 3 balls on a high volume, effective solid free throw percentage, and field goal percentage, again, lower as most smaller guards are, but came out and had a serious impact on winning, delivered for just literally in every aspect, even defensively. Obviously there are definitely going to be limitations as a smaller guard on that end of the floor, but he has quick hands. He gets a lot of blocks randomly. I think those swipe down sort of hits, are recorded as blocks rather than steals, but he has great hands that sort of make up for the lack of strength and size that he's able to sort of enforce on different players. So Markquis Nowell coming out, yes, if he's coming out and just trying to be, Jordan Poole when there's people he's trying to impress on the sidelines, if he's just chucking up shots, doing random things, then this kind of mentality can hurt you as a player. But really in every other aspect, to have that confidence to be the top guy, to be view yourself as the best player on the court, night in, night out, then that's a good approach to have for a Toronto Raptors player. So him coming in with this mentality excites me as a Raptors fan, because, if that's his goals, that's his aspirations, just making it into the rotation, just, having an impact on this team, that should sort of be the stepping stone. That's something that, he'll have to get through in order to achieve these insane goals. And personally, do I think he'll be able to outlast Kyle Lowry's greatness on the Toronto Raptors, or out-talent what Kawhi Leonard did in his one season here? Heck, even deliver what DeMar DeRozan, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh did for the organization stuff? It's unlikely. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Regardless of his talent and everything along those lines, his work ethic, being a 5'7" guy, I'm 5'7", 5'8" myself, so it's, tough to hoop out there, even in men's leagues, when you don't have that size to your advantage. But him being able to come out and overcome all those types of things, with that approach, with that right mentality, maybe we could see a Fred VanVleet-esque career from Markquis Nowell, which would certainly be a massive, massive win for the Toronto Raptors, regardless of how you view Fred VanVleet after at least this most recent season. But let me know if you guys think Markquis Nowell can really develop into that type of point guard. Forget the Raptors' growth or something along those lines, but be an effective guard for this team. I've called him the steal of the offseason multiple times over the course of the summer, and I really like his mentality and approach and his delivery on the court. So hopefully Markquis Nowell can really live up to these expectations. But we have another topic, the chapters I didn't break up to. My camera died before recording this, and currently in Netherlands, going to France after this. So getting these vids out, breaking down some topics, but basically, we have an update regarding Scottie Barnes. He was out here hooping, he's been getting some Pro-Am games action, some highlight tapes have been coming out, some positive, some negative, but he came out in the Powder League and dropped up an insane stat line. It's basically 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists for Scottie Barnes. coming out here in a Pro-Am league, and obviously every summer we see just lucrative, insane stat lines coming from guys. I mean, Markquis Flynn, I believe, put up 60, 70 points last summer, so you take these games with a grain of salt, but it's nice to see Scottie Barnes out here dominating. Come this summer, you watch the highlights, he's playing in hoop airings, the defense didn't look that aggressive. It's not like every bucket or assist or stuff was just open, fast break dunks, but definitely not NBA level caliber competition or anything along those lines, but he ended up taking a few jump shots, getting his sort of game rolling there a little bit. And it's nice to see him have some big games during the summer, especially after, if people didn't see, there's a highlight tape of him playing one-on-one action against Marvin Bagley, a few other, Andre Drummond, a few other NBA talents, and just not playing that well. There was a low light tape released of him, so I don't want to overreact to the summer action as we have. We overreacted a little bit last summer. I can't lie. Players didn't live up to the same expectations as we expected once we saw them dominating these Pro-Am leagues and those Rico Hines leagues. But Scottie Barnes, it's nice to see him doing some all-around stuff out there in a Pro-Am game, especially where Markquis Nowell doesn't take that leap, as we discussed in this video. The Raptors, don't have a lot of players solidified in at the point guard position. I mean, question marks about our two-way players, Jeff Doughton. Well, if he makes the team, Markquis Nowell, right? Liberty Freeman. Then Markquis Flynn couldn't insert himself into the rotation last season. And Dennis Schroeder is the one guy we know will be a rotation player, but whether or not he'll be a starter or a bench player, that's the big question. But given the way he's been playing in Germany and these off-season action, the way he really closed off the season for the LA Lakers, I mean, a lot of people, were calling for him as the better player over D'Angelo Russell down there with LA. So, the fact that Dennis Schroeder is on this team, whether he's a starter or a bench player, it's good for the Toronto Raptors to have that. But Scottie Barnes being able to slide into that position if things aren't working out at that point guard role will be a huge plus, a huge asset for the Toronto Raptors if they sort of have question marks at the guard positions. And obviously, Darko Rajakovic has talked about the ball getting in Scottie Barnes' hands more come this upcoming season, but it is something we did hear last year with Nick Nurse about how Fred VanVleet would be playing off the ball and Scottie Barnes would be playing more on the ball. And then after a month into the season, Fred VanVleet was slumping and said, hey, that's what they're asking me to do, to hook up with shots. When it really wasn't. I mean, Fred VanVleet's played off the ball before with Kyle Lowry and just didn't really work out. So it is what it is. Scottie Barnes never really has had that proper opportunity to play the PG position. Some moments he does rush a little bit as, the lead guard on teams. We saw it especially during the playoffs when the Sixers kind of dared the Toronto Raptors to run the offense through Scottie, but he's a much more mature player. He's tearing up these summer Pro-Am actions, so hopefully he'll be able to really turn things up and be that lead ball handler for the Raptors, whether Schroeder is starting or not come next season. But folks, let me know what you guys think about all this Toronto Raptors news. Do you think Markquis Nowell has the potential to be the GOAT of the Toronto Raptors? Let me know in the comment section below. But you guys are the best. Hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this team. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.